pull up on my phone because it lags a little. Hello, everybody. We'll wait a second for people to join. See if it works. Welcome. I know we have some people in the comments already. I am super excited today. We have Danielle Allen with us.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. I have been obsessed with your book since I read Truth or Dare, so I'm super happy.
Thank you.
I don't remember what year I read that. Is it the last year or the year before? But yes.
It came out in 2020.
Okay. I don't remember if I read it in 2020 or the very beginning of 2021. I feel like one of those, but
the pandemic has made the time
what
does
is
not
time?
even make sense anymore.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We have some people who have not read you yet, so I'm excited that they will hopefully get
Yes. Wonderful.
Yeah. So Samantha was supposed to be here with us. Books with Samantha. She is caught up at work, so she's not joining, but we're still here to have lots of fun and chat books. I will start off with chatting about my favorite books of Danielle's. So I have two. The first one that introduced me to you was Truth or Dare, and I have the gorgeous Hello Lovely edition, which I really love.
Yes. That's a beautiful cover.
It's so pretty. I mean, I do love the shirtless man cover as well.
Yes, I love them both, but
yes, had to have this one. It's just the whole friends to lovers at a wedding, on vacation, everything I love. So good. But then my recent one, I don't know if you know Tanya from TikTok and Instagram. Yeah, she was raving about business casual, so I read it and I became obsessed too. So this was my other favorite story. So good.
Thank you.
Romance, forbidden romance, so good. I love how like these are so different in the type of romance they are, and they were both just equally amazing. So
thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course. I will ask you now, what is your favorite book of yours? I know it's hard.
It's so hard because if it depends on so many things, but I will say that I feel like the Poe-inspired ones are the most unique and the most different, and I'm so proud of those because you don't necessarily equate Edgar Allan Poe and contemporary romance. And so if I had to choose, I would choose one of those four or the four as a group. Um, or maybe Broken Clocks because of people's reaction to it. But it's so hard. Jessica, why would you ask me that?
I like to make you struggle answering your question. I'm actually an English teacher, so I thought that was so cool that you did Poe-inspired stories. What made you want to write those? Because I don't know any other authors who really do, especially Edgar Allan Poe-inspired.
Exactly. So that was why I wanted to do it. I remember in sixth grade being forced to read The Raven, and Poe, like, spent time in Richmond, Virginia, and that's where I am. That's where I am. And so I was like, I remember every adaptation of any type of Poe, anything, always featured like everybody in the cast was white. So I was like, I am going to make it contemporary romance featuring Black couples and like spin the whole thing on its head. And so that's what I did.
That's so fun because normally Beauty and the Beast, or we have like a zillion of those. And so as a Poe lover myself, because Poe is so dark too, and it's like everybody dies and it's like revenge. I love how you can make some really fun romances out of them. Are you writing more in that of Poe-inspired? Because you have 4.
Yes. I try to, like, if the next one would be coming out on Poe's birthday. So like that's when if it comes out, it'll come out in January, even though Telltale, I believe, came out like a week or two after because I couldn't get it back from editing in time. But yeah, so January 19th is when the next one would come out.
Okay, and do you have a story chosen for that yet, or is that a secret?
It's a secret. I'm still mulling over. I'm mulling between two, but I feel strongly about one of them. And so the characters just started whispering to me the other day, and I said, okay, is this the year we do this?
Okay. That's fun. Would you ever do that for any other, like, literary works or just Poe for now?
Right now, I'm just focused on Poe only because I don't know and have never heard of anyone else doing it. And
Okay.
so I love being able to like be the first to like
Mhm.
make that happen. So when I run out of Poe stories, I might find something else. But
Okay.
right now, all about Poe.
He's got a lot too, so I
He
think
does.
you're
He
good
does.
for a while. And I was excited you wrote Annabelle. Is it called Annabelle Lee, your book? Okay.
Annabelle and Lee. Yeah.
Annabelle Lee is one of my favorite poems of his, so I was really excited to see that you had written, a book about that, and that's also to transition into your covers. That cover for Annabelle and Lee is one of my absolute favorite of yours, just like the red.
Thank
It
you.
is
Me
so
too. It's one of my favorites too.
okay. Yeah. I was gonna ask which cover of yours is your favorite? How do you do your covers? Do you design them?
So
Someone else?
I don't. I like
Okay.
Amy Q designed most of my covers. And
Mhm.
Annabelle and Lee is, I think I have it over here. Annabelle and Lee is one of my favorites because like it's so romantic and then
Mhm.
like the poem is too like even though Poe's dark, I feel like it's passion and love
Oh,
beneath
yes.
it. And so it's like on the surface, I mean, well, the Telltale Heart, that's horror. But like there's a lot of stuff, even with like the Raven, you can like there's love in there. And so
Mhm.
it's like, yes, this person was driven mad, but mad from the passion and the love and the mourning of losing someone that you love. And
Mhm.
so yeah, but the what I love about this cover is that it's so romantic, but it's so dark too. And I
Mhm.
feel like it pulls that Poe energy. So that's probably that and Sweatpants Season are probably my favorite covers. And Amy Q did both of those. So
I always get commentary on that cover if I talk about that book. People are like, "Oh, okay." But it's very sweatpants season.
because I told her when I was like, this is what I'm thinking for this cover. And so she was like, okay, I got you. And then she designed it. And I was like, no, I need to see his package. So go ahead and give me a dick print. And she was like, all right. And then she did it. And I was like, no, bigger. And then she did it. And I was like, that's the one. That's the one.
But I mean, that's so important to the story. So it's like
Right. So,
listed on audio, and I was like, I mean, that is actually part of the story. So
right. So it wasn't just gratuitous like that.
right.
It
It
was
served a
necessary.
purpose. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But I love that part in that book because, like, her turning the tables on the male gaze, and that was just a really
Absolutely.
amazing commentary at the end of that book. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Speaking of then, I'll segue into that one with your audiobooks. I don't know how many audiobooks you have. I know that you do have it for okay, just Sweatpants Season in
Broken clocks.
okay. Oh, you have one for Broken Clocks. Okay.
Yeah, those are the only two.
Okay. Wesley Siobhan's one of my absolute favorite narrators too. So the fact that you got her
So
to
good.
narrate that
She
is
is
amazing.
so good.
How did that go about getting that turned into audio? Did anybody approach you for that? Did you do that yourself? I know it's hard doing
It
audio.
is hard. I was approached by Ashley Antoinette's like company,
Mhm,
and they asked if I was interested in having my work turned into audiobooks. They told me which four, or there were four that I was willing to like start with. And
mhm.
so there will be two more audiobooks coming. And
Ooh,
so,
okay.
so
Are you allowed
hopefully
to share what
soon.
those are?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Because I don't know which one it will be,
okay,
but I do know that it will be either Cuffing Season or
okay.
Telltale.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Um, did you get a choice in the audiobook narrator, or you just, like, got really lucky and got her to narrate your audio?
I got lucky, but like
Okay.
they told me who like a couple people, and I was like, I love them both. Like, if you
Mhm.
could get either of them, that would be great. And Wesley was able to do it. And I was like, she was so good. Like, listening back to Broken Clocks and Sweatpants season, I was like caught up in the story. Like, I didn't write it and I didn't know what was going on. I was like, the
Yeah.
whole time.
Do you listen to audiobooks as a reader or no?
I don't.
Okay.
I want to, but I
Mhm.
don't drive that much anymore. Like, ever
Oh,
since I started working, like writing full time,
mhm.
I like only leave, like, for right now, I teach one college course on
Oh.
campus,
Mhm.
and like, and I'll be doing it in the fall, and that'll be once a week. And I don't live that far away from the campus. So it's like I'm not en route long enough. And I feel like if I were to do it at home, I would get distracted. I like being able to like have my eyes on the words and
Mhm.
like be invested in the story that way.
Mhm. Oh, that's true. I have a 35-minute commute during the school year, so that
Oh
is
yeah, yeah, that's a good amount
plenty
of
of
time.
time.
Yes.
What do you teach?
So I have my degree in human services. So I teach functional family and basically marriage and family counseling.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, yeah,
Okay. Do you ever use your degree in your writing?
I do. I
Okay.
do. I feel like just being able to read people, study people, and understand like communication. So if you've ever noticed that my characters are dialogue heavy, it's
Mhm.
because like, there's so much that is said that's explicitly said and implicit. And it's communication is everything in like real life and with the characters. So like I love putting that in.
Yeah. I mean, I agree about your books. It's very much all about their conversations and understanding each other. I mean, especially, with, Sweatpants Season with them, and I loved how she got to know him, and then it's all of a sudden like, "Wait, you're from that podcast?" And then there's this whole conflict with them, and it's all about the podcast and then their writing, and so,
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
we did have a question about, will Truth or Dare ever be an audio?
I'm working on that. Like,
Okay,
I'm trying to make that happen. Yes.
okay.
I don't know when, but I definitely try to make that happen.
Mhm.
And I've been talking to Wesley, and like hopefully that'll be that'll be coming.
Okay. Cool. And on the subject of Truth or Dare, will there ever be a bonus epilogue or a bonus anything for that couple?
I so if they ever speak to me in a
Mhm.
way that is like, all right, I'm gonna make this happen, I 100% would do it, because that whole group was fun. Like, it was fun to write. But if she decides that she's moving to Atlanta, I will write that down and make that happen for y'all.
Okay, cool. Do you then get like you talk about like them speaking to you? Is that how you get your ideas for your books? I know a lot of authors have talked that they're like people in their minds.
Absolutely. And it feels like I am watching a movie playing in my head and I'm just writing it out. But like, I'm watching them. Like, so sometimes I'll know the characters' names. I'll know, um, there's always a message in my stories. So I'll know what the message is going to be. I'll know the characters' names. And sometimes I'll know the destination. I'll know how it's going to end. But the journey, I don't know until it like plays. And
Mhm.
so I just am along for the ride.
So do you write it out then as it plays, or do you plot and then write?
I write it out as it plays. Like, and so that's why sometimes I'm up all night writing, and
Mhm.
sometimes I'm like all day just sitting in front of the computer and I wrote like 100 words. And
Mhm.
so it, I don't want to say I've never plotted, but I feel like if I plot too far in advance, it never really has worked out for me, because
Oh.
the characters will do what they want to do. And
Mhm.
if I'm forcing it, then I'm just like, okay, this is what I want the characters to do. And then they'll get up there and do something else. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll throw this away. This was a waste of time. Y'all decided y'all wanted to do this. Cool, cool, cool.
Has that ever made a book then, like, take a lot longer than you thought it would?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. But only by maybe a month,
Mm,
never like excessively longer. But it, when I, because when they're just talking and flowing and it's playing in my head, it's easier for it to come out. And so I'm writing faster because it's going. And
mm.
because I can't write out of order,
Okay.
like when it stops,
Mhm.
I'm unable to move forward. So then I'm stopping. And sometimes if I have plotted it out and I've written what I plotted, because they're not on the same page as what I wrote down, nothing's happening. So then I have to back up and say, okay, where did y'all want this to go? And so then I'll have to regroup and go
Yeah.
from there.
It's so fascinating hearing your process because I've heard authors talk about, like, they just talk to me. I'm like, "That is so cool." I mean, I can't relate to that. I've never had any, like, characters talk to me and I, like, need to get their story out, but that's so cool. Do you ever have then, like, a bunch of different stories wanting to come out and you have to choose which one, or are you more, like, focused on one at a time?
I will have, like, I'm focused on one, but I'll
Mhm.
have like the ideas of another story popping up. So
Okay.
I'll like open a doc and like write down, like, okay, this is the name, this is what they like, this is what where it's going to be, this is what the general idea is going to be. And I have like a few of those open, but
Mhm.
no one's really having a full blown conversation and like the movie is going like the people that I'm writing about currently. So
Okay.
it's like whoever is at the forefront, they have their center stage. Everyone else is just in the wings, like, well, don't forget, write this down real quick. But
Mhm.
like on the stage is who I'm writing about at that moment.
Mhm. And do you ever run out of ideas, or you're just an endless.
I'm hoping that it's endless. I'm hoping that I never run out. Right now, I have four covers and four ideas and four like blurbs like ready to roll. Like they're just waiting for their chance for me to write their story. So like, and all of them are vastly different. So hopefully, like it's a endless well of ideas.
Mhm. Do you do your covers first then?
Sometimes I do.
Okay.
It depends on the situation. Like for Continuum, that cover, the book was done,
Oh, that
and
cover was
thank
I love
you.
that.
And it really like for her to not know what the book was about, like I found the image and I told her, like, she asked me what color and I said blue. And then it
Mhm.
just came to actually, no, I didn't tell her the color until later, but all of that like played into the story. And I
Mhm.
was like, Amy, you did it again.
Mhm.
You get me. But then there's other times where I know exactly what it is that I want. And so it's like I can get the cover early because it's like I know I want this for the cover. So for the
Okay.
things that are coming for the rest of the year,
Mhm.
I know exactly like the story, the cover, all of that's already there. It's just
Oh, wow.
I
Just
gotta
gotta
find the time to write I gotta write
Yeah.
it.
I didn't know this, but how long have you been then? You said you're a full-time author, other than the one class you teach?
Yeah,
How
like
long have you been able to be a full-time writer?
since 2016.
Oh,
So I
wow.
left my full-time job at
Okay.
the school in 2016
Mhm.
and I've been writing full-time ever since.
Oh,
So for
that's
six.
amazing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was thinking about like how long it's been. It's been 5 years.
Yeah.
That's wild.
'Cause I was looking, you have a very extensive backlist. It said you have 42 books.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
that's so many. And I don't know when did you start writing?
In 2013.
Okay. So,
So
wow,
20 July 2013. So in a couple of weeks it'll be my
9?
9-year anniversary.
We got a question though. What inspired you to be an author then, if you started writing in 20.
So I wrote my first book in the third grade. And it was I thought it was great, and I remember getting compliments on it. And I was like, I think that would be cool to do, but I didn't know at that time. Like I was like, real people aren't can be authors. Like I didn't know who authors. I didn't know where they came from, but I was like, that's not something I can do. So I went into human services and counseling, and then I had a list of 30 things I wanted to do before I turned 30. And the number one thing on that list was to write a book. So I did that, and I was like, all right, cool. And the man I was with at the time was like, this is good, you should publish it. And I was like, right. And then we looked online to see how to do that. And the first thing that came up was Amazon. So did not know anything about anything. Didn't know there was a whole indie world out there. And so we uploaded it with a very like a questionable cover, and put it out there. But some people read it, and I remember getting a message from someone who was like, you're not on social media. Like, they commented that was back when Amazon let you could just write anything for the reviews. So she was like, you have it, like, I can't find you on social media. Like, email me. And before Amazon could delete it, I got her email address. I emailed her, and her name was Natalie. She was with a book blog at the time, and she was like, there's a whole indie world out here. And I was like, what? And so I got on social media, and then she like introduced me to some bloggers, and that's how it started. So that was 2013.
Wow. And I mean, look at you now, publishing like crazy in the indie world. That was one of my questions. Would you ever traditionally publish? And what is your favorite part about indie publishing? Because I know they're very different.
I would traditionally publish, um, if the right circumstances presented themselves. What I love about being indie is that the story that I wrote is the story that's going out. Like, there are not other people dictating, well, I like this ending better. Like, the story, the characters, how I pictured them, all of that. So I have more control as an indie author because I am the publisher, I am the author, I get the final say on the cover, it's all me. With traditional publishing, it's other hands that are in it. And I think that would be difficult to segue, um, for me, just because like it's been me making those decisions this whole time. So I would do it because I feel like it also would offer an opportunity for more people to maybe get their eyes on my work, because I feel like there is just a lot more access points that you have if you are publishing with a traditional publisher. But letting go of that control would be a lot.
Yeah.
But that's what I love about it. I love the control, because it's like what you're getting is the story that I wanted you to have, like with the all the love poured into it, blood, sweat, and tears are in those pages, and it's all me.
I mean, and as a reader, I feel like I see authors have a better idea of what the readers want than the publishers do. So, I mean, I tend to gravitate much more to indie romance because I just love the stories more and the risks those authors take because they don't have a
Yes,
publishing house behind them saying, no, we got to do this to sell. Like, well,
exactly.
I don't know this is going to sell. So, yeah, yeah. It's very interesting, though. I mean, because like you said, you have a whole team behind you, though, if you traditionally publish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever tried then traditionally publish or no, not yet?
Not yet. I feel like one day I may, like, I think that might happen. But I think right now my focus is to be able to grow my readership,
Mhm.
and like just continue being able to do my own thing. Like, I feel like it's been working so far. I would like to just continue to move forward and grow in that way.
Mhm. Are you because this got me thinking because I found you through Tanya, well, your new book through Tanya, and, are you on TikTok? Do you do a lot of social media? Do you think that helps a lot?
I am on TikTok. I think social media, well, I know social media has been the key to my success. I feel like I wouldn't be able to do this like full time if it wasn't for social media
Mhm,
because I don't run ads.
mhm,
I'm hoping to change that soon, but like I don't run ads. I don't have a marketing team. It's just like me and word of mouth and like and people who like if you shout me out, then I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And that's like genuinely how I feel because like that's all I have. Like
mhm,
that's my marketing team. Like whenever someone reads the book and they're like, hey, I like this, I'm like, thanks. And
mhm.
so, but yes, I think social media is so important to the whole like brand.
Yeah. I know, like, because I have my Instagram and my YouTube, so I'm always on social media, but I'm like, does this really help authors? Are they really super involved in that social media aspect? Or do most of the readers not care? But
I feel like it works. I
yeah.
for me personally, because I think everybody has their own thing.
Mhm,
But for me, I think social media is very, very helpful. It's a very useful tool because not only am I able to connect with different people, it gives me the opportunity to see feedback, to see like people's reactions to stuff, to be
mhm,
able to like hear different things and see what's going on. So I feel like it's a reciprocal relationship. Like I feel like
mhm,
because I create content, um, and sometimes it's a book related and sometimes it's just my personality and it's just me, but
mhm,
like the stuff that I put out is me putting that out and then I'm seeing other stuff and I'll duet it or I'll share it, and so I think it's a reciprocal relationship.
mhm. You had mentioned, like, seeing reactions to books and stuff. Someone did
Mhm.
ask if you ever wished to end a book differently after publishing, whether it's from reader response. Now, I have not yet read Broken Clocks yet, so I don't know what you were talking about with the reaction. Now I'm very intrigued, but also a little scared. Um, do you ever wanna change anything after you publish?
No, so I feel like this, what I love everything that I've ever written and I stand by everything I've ever written. I think that like I mean and you can obviously see the growth of my journey from back to life in 2013 to like my most like to what Hassan wants, which comes out in 13 days. So
Ooh.
like you can see like the difference, the growth,
Mhm,
but like I wouldn't change that because I feel like that's who I was in 2013. I mean, yeah, I could go back and rewrite it, but it's like I'm focused on moving forward. And
mhm,
so um I've I've had strong reactions to the ending of one book in particular. And I still wouldn't change it. I love the way because when I tell you I don't know how a story is going to play out. I like, but I'll know, like, I knew the ending of that story. And I was like, all right, here we go. And I didn't know what the journey was going to entail. And,
mhm,
but like, I knew how it was going to play out. And I feel like that's so important to the message of the story. And
mhm,
so, like, that's why there's nothing that I would change. Um, because everything that I put in it is intentional. And I
mhm,
feel like I believe, like, I love my writing. I think I'm a great writer. I think I'm a great storyteller. And I have to put out what I believe is my best. I put my best out. After that, when someone reads my work, that is a relationship between the reader and the book. That doesn't have anything to do with me. I did the best possible job I could do. I put everything I had into that project and then I put it out into the world. And different people hit people different things hit people differently. So I can't always guess what someone's reaction is going to be. I did anticipate some of the reactions to Broken Clocks, but I knew it was important and I knew it was necessary. And like, even when the people were upset with me, they still appreciated it and they still said that it was a great book, but some people were a little upset. And but later they got it. So yeah, I wouldn't change a thing. I think that like everything is written exactly how it's supposed to be. Everything is done exactly the way it should be. And then after the fact, it's like all you can do is just move on to the next book, write another great book, love it, put it out, and hope other people love it too.
Do you read the reviews then, or you don't even like look at them?
The first week I look at reviews because I'm like, I like to see and know if the message that I put in, if people got it, because that's what's most important to me. Like, obviously I would love all 5-star reviews, everyone, like, you know what I mean? Like, I want that. But like, what's most important though is like, did they get it?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because like, not everyone is going to get it, and that's fine. But like, once I see that a few people have gotten it, I'm like, all right, I'm good. And so like, I don't like really read much more after that first week. But if someone like messages me and they're like, you know, hey, I wrote this review, and they like send it to me, then I go to it. And then especially after I move on to the next book, I don't really go back and read reviews from the book before it, because now I'm focused on this new couple and like if people receive that message.
Okay. That was such a good answer. Oh my gosh. Nope, everything's good. Would not change a thing. Now I'm very scared though to read Broken Clocks because I'm prepared. I will prepare myself though. I will know.
Go in knowing that the message that I want you to take, I want you to sit with it. And then I want you to reach out to me and let me know what you got from it. Okay. And so even if you're mad at me, like I want you to, but hopefully you won't be, but like I want you to reach out and tell me what you got from it.
Okay. I will do that. I will read that soon and hopefully survive. But you've been writing for almost 9 years now. And how have you changed as an author then through those times? Because you're not the same that you were.
I'm not the same. I feel like I write. So in the beginning, I wasn't thinking about it as a career. So with Back to Life and Back to Reality, those were my first attempts at fiction. Like I'd only written research papers and like grants. So I'd never written anything that was fiction. So when I wrote those books, I was like, everything I've ever wanted to see in a book, because I wasn't thinking I'm going to do more and more. So I was like, everything I've ever wanted to write, put in a book, or wanted to see in a book, I'm going to put it in this book. So there is a lot happening in Back to Life, Back to Reality. It's a wild ride, and I love it. I love it. But if I wrote it today, it would be different. Okay. But I feel like now, it's really, because it was always conversation heavy, but I feel like I was more descriptive. Like I didn't just want to set the scene. I wanted you to feel like you were in the room, and I was just doing a lot. And so I feel like what I know and notice now is that I'm still wanting you to feel like you're in there, but I'm not like telling you every detail of everything. Like I'm allowing it to play in a way, except for in scenes where all the details matter. So when it's like hot and sexy time, I want you to feel like you're there. When like they're meeting and there's chemistry, I want you to feel like they're there. But if they're on the phone driving, like you don't need to know how many trees are they're driving by. Like you don't need to know those details. But I feel like that is the main thing, and just the confidence to do what I want to do. Like I feel like in the first time I wrote, it was just, you know, everything I've wanted to see in a book. And then it was just like, I'm gonna write what I want to write. And like, and I hope people rock with me. I hope they love
Mhm.
it too. But like, it's not based on like, oh, people are into this right now, so I'm gonna write this. It's like
Mhm.
I'm just in my own lane, minding my own business, and like hoping people rock with me. Like that's how I move now.
Mhm. Well, I mean, that allows you then to do things people haven't done before, like with the Poe stories and stuff. You
Yes.
are paving the way for other people, so I
Yes.
love that.
Thank you.
'Cause there are authors who will try to jump on the hype train, what's big right now, because that's what's selling with other authors,
Hmm.
but I think your passion shows through more when you're writing what you wanna write, so,
I think so too. I think so
mhm,
too.
yeah. I where was it? Oh, okay. I was like, I had a question ready and then I completely forgot it. But you said you had never written before, especially like a contemporary romance. Were you reading romance at all? Do you have favorite romance authors? What have you been?
So there's so many authors that I love, but like I was reading a lot, and what made me write Back to Life is I was seeing. So this was in 2013. I read a bunch of romances, and all of them were white, blonde hair, blue eyed, like size six. Like that was all I was reading. And I was like, well, wait a minute.
Mhm.
Not one, not one. And so, and like then when I read stuff that was, and this was just contemporary,
Mhm.
when I read like other romances that were like older, like when I did see romances with Black women, they were older
Mhm.
and they were still slim, they had relaxed hair. It was still, doing that thing. So I was like, well, I want to write a story about a brown skin, black, natural haired, big bodied woman falling in love and having her happily ever after too. And so my heroines all like range in like sizes. Like some are slimmer, like in Truth or Dare.
Mhm.
She's slim and she had been working on trying to get her booty. And then there are the other ones like in Continuum where she's a size 20 and like she got booty and like and she get noticed. And so I try to incorporate that into my stories because when I was reading, I wasn't seeing that at that time. And so now, like things changed like quickly, especially when I like learned about indie books too, because I also didn't know there was a whole indie world. And
Mhm.
so like now there's so many books, so many diverse. Like you can read anything now. Whereas in 2013, though, and I had been reading contemporary romances all like, I want to say it was like into 2011 through 2012, the beginning of 2013. Like I had been reading a lot and I was getting it was the same type of things. Whereas with now, it's just so many options. And I love that. I love that so much.
I definitely agree, especially the indie world, you can find so much more diversity by so many other
Absolutely.
authors, so, um,
Absolutely.
do you have any favorite authors you currently read? Whether indie or critically published?
I love so many of like my indie friends. Like they're so good. There's like a wealth of talent. And it is so remarkable to like look over and see like, oh, my friend doing her thing. Like it makes me so happy. And so that's why when I see people like talk about like competition and stuff, and it's like people are gonna read a book and then read another book. It's not
Mhm.
like we're selling cars where it's like, oh, they're going to keep that thing for 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
Like they're going to read the book and then read the next book and then read the next one. So I'm just like, there's so much talent. I'm so proud of all of them. But my favorite author of like all time is Maya Angelou. Like she's
Mhm.
my favorite, hands down. My favorite book is Sula by Toni Morrison. And then I was really rocking hard with Jodi Picoult for like a lot of 2012. I was like, okay, I'm in there. And then My Sister's Keeper came out in the movies, and it was cool. But if you read that book, I was like, okay, all right, all right, I see what you're doing there. Because have you read My Sister Keeper?
No, I have not.
Have you seen the movie?
No.
Okay. Well, the book and the movie differ, and
Okay.
yes, I'll say that because I don't want to
Okay.
spoil it for anybody. But like when I read that book, when I tell you I was like, and cried. And so I saw the movie and it was cool, but that book was everything. And so that was like one of the, I remember after I wrote Back to Life, I wrote Jodi Picoult and she wrote me back. And,
Wow.
and like, it wasn't I asked her a question that her response wasn't what I was hoping for, but she wrote me back and wished me the best in my writing career. And I was like, oh, and so I saved it. I saved that email. But yeah, so Maya Angelou is hands down my favorite, will always be. And Sula, the depth in that book is everything. So
Okay.
those are my favorites.
That's amazing though that she wrote back to you.
I know. I'm still hype about it.
I know that you were supposed to be at a Polycon this year, but you're not anymore. I don't know if you saw the announcement though. Jodi Picoult's actually going to be like the headliner at a Polycon next
Oh
year. Which is
wow,
great.
that's
Like
awesome.
breakfast is for her and everything. So
That is
yeah.
amazing. I was hoping that like there's some things that come up that if I like was able to rearrange that,
hmm
then I would 100% still be there. Like because I wanted to be there. Like I had heard such good things about a Polycon prior to, and so like I'd never been to one before. So I was very, very excited. So like I'm fingers crossed, but I felt like it was better for me to
Oh yeah.
announce that I couldn't be there
hmm
and then not be able to be there than to not say anything and then not show up.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been to a Polycon 2018, 2019, and then it hasn't happened for a few years, but it is an amazing signing. So hopefully you get to go at some point because
Yes, I'm
it's really
hoping.
great.
I'm hoping.
Yeah. Are you going to any other signings this year or next year that you signed up for, or just nothing yet?
I like don't have anything. Well, I have two that I signed up for. They haven't been announced yet, and I want to say they're in the summer of 2023. But for the rest of 2022, I haven't signed up for anything. Like it's trying to balance because like we're still in a COVID situation, and I did a signing at the end of June, and I had my mask on at first, but it got so hot, and so I had to take it off, and then in the moment, I was like, I hadn't seen everybody, so it was like I'm giving hugs, I'm feeling good, and then I rush out and I like put my mask on and go to the airport, and then I'm like because that was the most amount of people I'd been around in like 2 years. So I immediately got home like at 1:30 in the morning, took a COVID test. I was like,
Yeah.
like nervous, but fortunately all was well. But
Okay.
I feel like I'm hoping that by 2023, like
Mhm.
things will calm down and COVID will be more like the common cold. That's
Mhm.
what I'm hoping.
Mhm. Okay. I'm excited to see what these signings are then, if they haven't been announced yet,
Yeah.
in the summer. But I just got back from Book Bonanza, which is a huge signing Colleen Hoover puts on. And one of my favorite things is seeing author friendships, as you had mentioned that like you and your friends, you just get so excited for each other. And I think that is the sweetest thing and how you just want to
Yes.
support each other. I mean, you're not competition. Your
Yes.
readers will read there. Like, yeah. So
Exactly. The morning of that I knew that they were leaving for I was about to say a Polycon book bonanza. I sent text messages to Brittany and Kennedy and to Dylan and was like, I hope you sell all the books. Good luck because it's like I want you to sell all the books. Like, I want you to go out there and like make that money, meet people, like have a great time. Like, I
Mhm.
feel like that's how it should be. Like, it should always be all love.
Yes. Kennedy gives the best hugs. She was hugging every single person that came to her table. She is so sweet. Oh my gosh.
She is the best. I love her. I love
Yeah,
her.
yeah. But it's just we notice your friendships as readers, like whether you're talking to each other online or at
Oh,
signings, so we think it's super cute. Yeah.
I love it. I love that.
I did wanna ask, so you have written a lot of books and a lot of tropes. So, like, I was showing these 2 and how just really different they are with their tropes, right? Because we have friends to lovers and we have forbidden office romance. Do you have a favorite trope to write or you like them all?
I love a good friends to lovers because the relationship is already established. You just got to
Mhm,
put in that romance element. But like, I feel like it's so, even though like I never experienced a friends to lover romance, like I look at my guy friends like, that's my boy. Like that's not
yeah.
like there's no romance there. And
Yeah,
so but like I faithfully will like go to a friends the lovers like thought process because I'm just like it's so sweet to like to watch the movie play where these friends are like just discovering like is there something more here? And
mhm,
so yeah.
mhm. I feel like it's a very underrated trope. Like, people love the, like,
Dude,
enemies to lovers or, like, what if they're friends and they just really like each
right,
other?
right. And I feel like with enemies, I only wrote one enemies to lovers, and while I love that story, I love it. I feel like the if someone does something extremely mean to me, I don't see how I'm gonna get to the lovers part. Like I feel like I'm
True.
gonna still be mad, and so
We'll
I
hold that
think
grudge.
right. So that might be why I don't usually write for enemies to lovers
Mhm,
because I don't know how I personally would just be like, you know what, it's cool. I
mhm.
know, you made me lose my job and you like cut the brakes on my car, but I'm gonna forgive you. Like I just don't see it. I don't see it.
That's so funny. Bree is here. I know Bree enjoys your books as well. She's another booktuber, so,
Hi.
someone mentioned friends to lovers, but best friends to lovers.
Yes.
Better.
Yes. Because the relationship's already there.
Mhm. Yeah.
I love suspense. Like suspense is my favorite mystery and suspense. Like if a movie is coming out and it says it's a psychological thriller, a mystery, or a suspense, I'm in there. Like I
Mhm,
love it. So I but I will say that it takes me more time to write. Like the Women of V took me more time to write because of the mystery element, like in dropping all of those like little jewels throughout the 3 books so that
mhm,
at the end all of it comes together and then you can be like, oh yeah, that did happen. Like that takes a little longer to like do that and while also having the romance like going on too.
mhm.
So I definitely will be writing more suspense and more mysteries.
I do like books with suspense, but I could see how that's a little bit harder.
Yeah.
This is a good okay, these next 2 questions were 2 I definitely wanted to ask you. So this one, what would you recommend people to start with if they're getting to you for the first time?
So I never know what to say. So I had asked my reader group on Facebook like what they would suggest. And overwhelmingly, people were saying Truth or Dare and Broken Clocks. Of
Broken
the
clocks? What's
two,
that before?
right. And that's what I said. And I was like, I feel like broken clocks is like after they already love me,
Oh,
then they
yeah.
like will be able to forgive me. But I feel like I would say truth or dare, or continuum, or if you like a good like funny book, um, I would say The Single Life with Zola Patterson.
Okay.
That's what I would if start there. Well, okay, with The Single Life with Zola Patterson, it starts with the Hot Holiday hookups. Like it's the first 3 Hot Holiday hookups, then Zola's books, and then all the other hot holiday hookups. If you do that, it will like, because the first three, the one that's for Groundhog Day, April Fool's Day, and Juneteenth, are Zola's friends. So once you read those and then you read The Single Life of Zola Patterson, when Zola does get with her friends, it'll feel like a reunion. It'll feel like you're part of the friend group too, because you know like the stuff that they had gone through. So when they are asking Zola for advice, you already know the stuff that they've been through. But you don't have to read it like that. But I always recommend you do it like that. So if you're looking for something funny and sexy, I would read um, Slow News Day, Fool in Love, The Delay, and then The Single Life with Zola Patterson, part 1 and 2, like to get you in a sexy, funny mood. But Truth or Dare was overwhelmingly what people said they would suggest, that, and Broken Clocks. And
okay. So, that's funny. Bianca said, have your wine ready.
Yes.
That's so funny.
Bianca is right.
Is that, I didn't realize that was a series then, your holiday hookups. Is that with Boot Up too? Because I've read Boot Up. Okay. And I saw you had a Christmas one too.
Yes. That was Spread Joy.
Okay. I've only read the Halloween one.
All of the ones that came, like, so Spread Joy, Boot Up, the Dream, which is the MLK Day one, and On the Third Day, which is the Easter Hot Holiday Hookup. All of those are just fans of Zola's who wrote into Zola's show. Okay. And so they don't have any bearing on Zola's story. But and even the other Hot Holiday Hookups, they don't have any bearing on the story. But it's just that if you read those, when you see her friends again, you know, like, it'll give you a little update on their lives.
Okay. I will say I love the fact that you have holiday novellas, because I read Boot Up around Halloween. I was like, this is so fun. Like,
yes,
so cute. Holiday romance for Halloween. It was
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go read all the other ones or save them for every holiday. So I don't know which one to.
She sure was. She sure was. And that's exactly how you should spend Christmas Eve. And so that's why it was a Christmas Eve hot holiday hookup.
So those are all novellas though, right?
Yes, those are all novellas. And like, I try to pick holidays that aren't normally like celebrated or talked about as much. And like, when you think of romances, like, you don't necessarily think of most of them. Like Halloween, there's more Halloween romances. And so I chose Christmas Eve instead of Christmas Day. And then I chose MLK Day, because if we're going to go January, most people are going to do New Year's. And then Groundhog Day as opposed to Valentine's Day. So I just try to keep you on your toes.
I love that. Again, you just being unique and doing what people don't already do. Do you like writing novellas or novels better? Because you have a lot of both. Or
Yes, so here's the thing. I used to think that I couldn't write novellas because I was like, why all of these books? So my early work, it's like, you're going to get 100,000 words. You're going to get a thick book. And then I don't know if it was the pandemic or what, but it was just like, I want to write something like short and to the point. Like, I want to write something short and sexy. So then that's when I started with the hot holiday hookups. And I feel like with the novellas, I do plot with those, because I feel like it's like I'm trying to stay at 20,000 words. So I have to know, like, okay, but it's not detailed, but I have to know, like, this is what each chapter needs to, like, stick to this, because if I let them run wild, it would turn into something longer. So I'm like, all right, they got to meet, they got to get it in, something else has to happen, then they got to get it in again. Like, that's how I look at my novellas.
Yeah. But I think there's a huge market for novellas, especially in the indie romance world. Like, some authors only write novellas and they're highly successful. So
absolutely,
we enjoy our short and hot, spicy novellas. And
well, I'm gonna keep doing it then. Thank you.
They're a lot of fun. I did pass. What was the question? I love asking this. What's your favorite underrated book of yours that you want everybody to read?
Oh, goodness. Okay, so I would say that's so hard. I would say any of the Poe related ones. I feel like sometimes people think that Nevermore, Telltale, Annabelle and Lee, and the Cask, like you have to have majored in literature in order to get it. It is not that at all. There are many people who have read it without knowing, because I do suggest you read, like, Google Poe's, like, whatever it is. So if it's Annabelle Lee, Google the poem, read that, and then because you would get so much, like some of the nuanced things that I weaved in there. I want you to appreciate the work I put in there, and I feel like you will appreciate it more if you knew like what it was inspired from. But there have been plenty of people who have like read it without reading Poe's stuff and still have gotten it. But I feel like people shy away from the Poe work because they think it's gonna be like, because they go back to thinking about school because that was the last time you really were, forced to read Poe, and then you are not thinking about it in a way that's, it is romance. It is all of these are romance. It's just inspired by something that isn't traditionally looked at as romance. And so I feel like people have shied away from that. So I would say that any of those would be the most underrated. And if I had to pick one for you to go with, I would say the most recent one was The Cask. And so that was based on thank you, that was based on the Cask of Amontillado. And it's my only enemies to lovers. And I would say that one. I would say that.
Okay.
But any of the four, like those are underrated.
Okay. Someone said Work.
Oh, thank you. Work Song was like the book that changed, like that opened up my readership enough for me to like confidently be like, all right, I'm doing this full time. And so like I love that story. That I feel like of all of my work, that one is probably like there's a little bit of me in all of the books, but like that particular heroine, like plus size, natural hair, loves football, food, fashion, like so much of me was in Tatiana. And so I love writing that. So thank you so much.
Someone asked if you have an Instagram. I actually have it linked in the description box. So if you want to follow her, it is in the description box down below because you do have Instagram.
Yes.
Yes. Someone asked, what is the best way for readers and reviewers to support you?
If you buy the books, read the books, and shout them out, like that is the best way. Reviews are great too, but like there's something about word of mouth that like does it. I feel like people will like write the reviews, and some people will go to reviews. I've heard people are like, well, but because of spoilers, some people stay away from reviews. So like buying the book, reading the book, and then shouting it out is everything to me.
Yep, I agree with that. Making sure you share. Do you want to tell us? You said your new release is in 13 days.
Yes.
Do you want to let us know a little bit about that book?
I sure will. So, What Hassan Wants is a sexy, forbidden romance that it's definitely strangers to lovers, but it is a forbidden romance, and it is from Hassan's point of view. So he is caught off guard by Tiana, and their trajectory is interrupted by a few things. So getting there happily ever after would take some work if they were to try to pursue it, but it would be dangerous, and like it would be heartbreaking for them to pursue it. So they have to choose between doing what they want and doing what's right. And so you'll have to read the story to see which they choose. But it is paperback only. it's a summer exclusive on my website, paperback only, and then it'll be available in ebook this fall. But for the summer, like if you wanted to get it, you can go to my website and you could order it there, and then that's how you would get that.
Cool, because I don't remember seeing anything on Amazon about it. So,
Yeah,
like
it'll be
normal.
on Amazon
Okay.
later this year, but
Okay.
not but this summer it's just like exclusively from my website. And so it'll be, yes, so it is definitely forbidden.
Sounds so good. I'm excited.
Thank you.
Everyone's sounds really good. We are coming up to about an hour. Everybody's saying Audible, yes. Ordering from your website. We do have a question.
Thank
I
you.
don't know if have you written a mafia romance? Would you ever write a mafia romance?
I've never written a mafia romance. I wrote, so the Women of V, they aren't a mafia, but they are an organization, and it's a female led organization, and so I feel like if out of all the books, the Women of V series would be the most mafia like. But yeah, I feel like I might write something, but see, I feel like if I wrote mafia, I would have to write some sort of violence, and I don't really write too many like fight scenes or like gunplay or anything like that. So I would have to really stretch to do that. But yeah, like I feel like, but listen, if the character started talking to me and all of a sudden they was in a mafia, I'd be right there writing it. So because I can't tell them what to do sometimes. They come up and they decide. So I wouldn't necessarily, but that doesn't mean that won't happen if they start talking to me.
Never say never.
Right, like won't write it off.
Okay, I mean, you could non-violent mafia romance with the cinnamon roll hero.
That is true. Like he could just every time like some violent stuff is about to like jump off, he can be like, you know what, I'm gonna holler at y'all later. And then like and when he's going out the back door while everyone else is going out the front, that's when he runs into, you know what, you're onto something. And so like
Yeah.
that and all the violence could happen in the background. And so it's never really on the page.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's more of a possibility now. It's more of a
Mafia romance coming next. We want it.
I feel like that it might be in the works. It might be in the works.
Okay. That would be very
I
sick.
love it.
Always add new things to your
Right.
You never have ideas.
Exactly. It has to be an endless well. So
Yes.
so it's up
Inspiration
here
will hit,
now.
hopefully.
Right.
They'll talk next. That would be fun.
So if I do write that, like y'all know that y'all inspired it, like it happened here, right here and now.
Yes. We will take credit for it. All right. Well, we are at the end of our time together. These always go by so fast. I'm like,
It
how
flew
talking
by.
for an hour? But now we're gonna be waiting for the mafia romance. But in the meantime,
Yes.
we will go to your website in 13 days and check out your new forbidden romance, which I'm very excited to read.
And you
But in
can
the
pre-order it
meantime,
now.
oh, you can pre-order already?
Yes, like you can buy it now and then like it'll be on its way.
Okay. In the meantime, though, you have 42 books that people can
Yes,
still seek
absolutely.
out. So check out your backlog. I will reiterate my 2 favorites are these 2. They're amazing, but
Thank
as you
you.
said, you still have your holiday shorts that people love. Very intrigued by Broken Clocks now. I will be downloading
Yes.
it.
As soon as you read it, I want you in my inbox. Like I
Okay,
want to know
I
your
will.
thoughts.
I'm nervous, but I will. Prepared for that ending. I'll let you know if I cry or not.
Yes,
Apparently that's
please do.
common response. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, I had to have you. You're one of my favorites, so I'm
Thank
very happy we
you.
could talk.
Thank you.
I can link your website once I'm out of here, so I can do that as well in the description box. But you can follow Danielle on Instagram. That's all down below, and I'm sure you have that linked on your Instagram, your website.
I do not, but that's a good idea. I should do that. I should
Okay.
absolutely. Oh wait, no,
Well,
I
yes.
do have my website linked, but I don't have it direct to the page. But once you click on the
Okay.
website, it'll say
It's
what
easier.
Hassan wants. You click on that and you
Okay.
can go. Yeah.
Okay. But I'll go ahead and add that when we're done. So pre-order, we've got people heading over there now, which is awesome. So yes.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
All right. Well, we will see everybody later. Thank you for joining. And thank you,
Thank you so
Danielle, for
much.
joining.
Thank you for
Bye.
having me. Thank you for joining us, everybody.